Divine feminine rage. Oftentimes, women are monsterized for having valid reactions to objectively horrendous things. Entire stories and creatures are created around the idea of an angry or scorned woman. Modern day, we might hear terms like shrill or bitch, but the concept is not new, and it's been around forever. A prime example of an angry woman, in my opinion, is Ursula. I need a red. Hi, I'm Tay. I'm a fashion designer and artist. Welcome to my channel. This is a design series I'm doing on my channel here where I design a mini capsule collection for a villain. Today, it's my favorite villain of them all, possibly, Ursula. Before I can design a collection inspired by her though, we need to learn a wee bit about her history. If you're new to my channel, first and foremost, subscribe before I curse ye! But more importantly, you might not be familiar with my design process here on my channel. Basically, we do a wee bit of a background history on whatever or whoever the topic is. Today it's Ursula. Then, based on our newfound knowledge, we get some keywords from that research that we will then use to do some image sourcing. That then leads to a mood board, which will be our cornerstone inspiration for a collection that I will design and showcase to you towards the end. TLDR, history, ideation, design. Or more accurately, you subscribe, history, ideation, then design. Let's get into it. Just want to mention, I looked up and double checked and practiced my pronunciation of a few words in here. So I've really tried, but if I've mispronounced anything, I apologize and please correct me. In folklore, there are a few tales about half octopus, half women, which are known as cecaelia. But that term or word was only invented in modernity in writing forums online and then retroactively applied to folklore that had existed for ages beforehand. In Japanese culture, the half octopus, half woman is known as the tako nibo, or octopus wife. They are a type of yokai, which is a Japanese term for supernatural monsters. The tako nibo are women who portray themselves as the perfect wife. They love to cook well, they clean, they are these perfect figures of domesticity. But the legend goes they are secretly half octopus, and if this secret is discovered by the husband, the magic is broken and she must return to the sea forever. Pacific Northwest tribes have their own version of the half octopus woman. There's a story about her in the Tlingit and Haida tribes that she sits on the beach by the water digging for clams. Her hair is tied into 8 massive braids. As she digs, the raven approaches. The raven is not a human either. He's a shapeshifter, a bird deity. Now he's really powerful and can see through spiritual disguises according to legend. He's also a bit of a trickster. So as he approaches her, he yells out, "Hey octopus, are you digging for clams?" And she ignores him. She's a little annoyed by him, but of course he continues to badger at her. Eventually, she runs out of patience with him and her braids transform into massive tentacles. She grabs the raven with her suction cups and pins him onto the beach until the tide comes in. She can breathe underwater, the raven cannot. He dies that day, but is later brought back. There's honestly so much lore behind the raven, and apologies for keeping it rather short here, but the focus for this video today is going to be on the octopus woman. The Ursula that the majority of people know is the mean sea witch who schemes to take the throne from King Triton, tricking Ariel into giving her voice in exchange for a chance to live as a human on land. Notably, in the cartoon, it was cut that Ursula was actually King Triton's sister, making her Ariel's auntie, and she was banished from the castle for practicing dark magic. But the 1837 Hans Christian Andersen version of Ursula is far darker. In this version, her house is made from bleached human bones from people that drowned in the ocean. She's described as a grotesque and terrifying hag, and instead of the Disney version we see when Ariel exchanged her voice for a chance to win Prince Eric, it wasn't via singing. Ursula cut her tongue from her face. The potion that she makes for the spell contains Ursula's own black blood that she obtains from gashing her own chest. And Ariel's time on land with legs wouldn't have been as romantic and lovely as we've seen, as Ursula made it it so that this process was incredibly painful. Every step for Ariel while having legs was to feel like razor blades. The difference in the story endings I find particularly interesting as well. In the Little Mermaid film, Ursula sabotages Ariel by making herself into a beautiful woman that hypnotizes Prince Eric into marrying her. In the Anderson version, Ursula does no such thing. She actually doesn't interfere whatsoever, but Prince Eric does end up marrying someone else anyways. Ariel's fate is to die of a broken heart and turn into sea foam, but her sisters make a desperate plea to save her by making a trade with Ursula. They swap all of their hair in exchange for a magical dagger that Ariel is instructed to use to stab Eric in the heart, letting his blood cover her feet for her to return to a mermaid. Ariel can't do it and decides to throw herself into the sea and dissolve instead. There's likely a few reasons that Disney decided to change some of the details there, specifically with the ending, but now that we have a bit of history on Ursula and the cecaelia, I'm about ready to think of some keywords that we can use to source imagery for our mood board that we will use to create our capsule collection. The keywords I'll think of aren't just going to be based off of the cartoon Ursula that we know, but also the Anderson version, as well as the cecaelia, as well as the folklore that we learned a wee bit about. Looking at these pictures, thinking of these characters, thinking of these stories, these are my keywords. Scorned, envious, drowned, and femme fatale. Or femme fatal. I'm not sure how to say that. Let's hit ideation. This is the part where we grab as many visuals as we feel will work, for as long as it feels right to be in the ideation phase. Keeping our keywords in mind, I'm just going to screenshot and save anything that fits the vibe or speaks to me, and I don't worry too much about color, as color palette will come after the mood board imagery is secured. The Little Mermaid was always one of my favorite Disney films, I think. That and maybe Cinderella. I'm obsessed with the ocean, so The Little Mermaid makes me happy for that, but the scene in Cinderella where the mice make her dress for her always makes me cry. I love it so much. Images in hand, blank canvas ready, time to assemble the mood board and start seeing some form of vision come together. I typically just resize and move about and then slip pictures in where they fit, or sometimes I'll keep certain tones and colors together, but mainly it's just a moment of rearranging and seeing what jumps out. For this video, I wanted to do just a wee bit of a design challenge sort of moment where I'll pick 3 garment categories and put them into a generator and see what we are designing for instead of who we are designing inspired by. So the options will be either a red carpet / formal look, a bridal look, or a burlesque stagewear look. Based on what we get from the generator, that will be the category we designed for. Drum roll please. Red carpet formal wear. Now we have our mood board, garment category / event, and we have our theme. Let's design. I always start with some preliminary sketches where I have my mood board with color palette in sight and just start like sketch vomiting as much as I can think of and brainstorm my immediate ideas based off of everything we've done. While these videos and this process can take days to do, I prefer to try and fit in the mood boarding and the preliminary sketches in the same day because the mood and the tone and the vibes will all be fresh in my head. The preliminary sketches and final designing don't have to be in the same day, and sometimes it's even best to spread those out, as you never know what ideas can be born overnight, but mood boarding and prelim sketches belong together. And here are our final pieces for our formal wear mini capsule collection inspired by Ursula. I wound up doing 5 total pieces. Let's go through each one. Piece 1 is a gown with sweetheart plunge neckline in a black faux crocodile leather, sort of to emulate a sea creature texture. The bodice you see is actually part of a bodysuit the skirt would be draped over top of. The bodice is complete with faux bones crossed in front over that plunge neckline, and the back of the bodice portion comes up and around the neck to create a faux sort of choker, while the back of the bodysuit portion has curved spikes down the spine. The skirt portion is a draped sheer polyester chiffon in a granite green. The sides of the skirt portion are open and just the front and train are in a sort of waterfall effect. Piece 2 is a high neck modified mermaid silhouette gown. drop waist or bodice portion is in a black velvet, and that teal sweetheart neckline you see peeking out from beneath is a structured bodice with an all-over sequin mesh overlay. The sleeves and skirt are in a taupe glitter chiffon, and down both arms are the same curved spikes from the first piece. These are to represent the bones that the Anderson Ursula has her home made from. Piece 3 is an A-line gown with pointed waist bodice and off-the-shoulder cap sleeves. Bodice is in the faux black crocodile leather. Off-the-shoulder cap sleeves are in a black fishnet material, and the skirt is layers upon layers of a dark teal chiffon material, with the top layer having the glitter chiffon. Ideally, that chiffon would be a teal to black ombre, but I cannot find exactly what I'm thinking of in my head, so likely it would have to be custom made. As you can see on the rib cage of the bodice is a rib cage. This I would probably have to play with during construction, but a foam material and then a wrap in some type of white fabric could work. But I also think that a plastic would work great, and covering them in crystals or stones would look amazing. Piece 4 is a boat neck mermaid silhouette gown in a black velvet. The boat neck and waterfall sleeve are in a beige glitter chiffon. The bottom of the dress is in a beige and black glitter ombre chiffon material, and this would need a lot of tulle beneath to keep that structure that you see illustrated here. I also added a fishbone brooch to the back of the gown to fasten the neckline together before the corset down the entire back. And finally, piece 5 is another high neck mermaid silhouette gown, this time in a taupe macado twill satin. High neck and bottom of gown are in a black chiffon. As you can see, I've done the rib cage / bone effect on this piece as well, just a lot more intricate. The back would look like a spine with ribs wrapping around the hips and waist. I like the idea of having the bones black for this one to represent Ursula's black blood that's mentioned in the Anderson version of the story. I also think that those should either be covered in black crystals or rhinestones or a glitter material. I wanted to avoid making any of these pieces seem too cosplay-y. Like, I do love a good cosplay, don't get me wrong, and there's so many talented cosplayers out there. I'm honestly so astonished a lot of the time, but this was more aimed to be subtle but obvious at the same time as a theme inspiration. Let me know how I did, comment your favorite piece. I think my favorite piece I'm leaning towards maybe 3 or 5, I think. Also, this is the first of the I Design for Villains series I'll be doing. I have planned who I want to do next, but let me know what villain you would like to see. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel. We just hit 45 subs as of me editing this video, so maybe we can hit 50 by the end of the month, possibly. Anyways, have a good day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.